Hello. I'm in Indiana right now where there are storms. So Piper's going to join us because she's scared of thunder. Chus is in his basement in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You're watching No Buts About It. That looked a lot cooler in my head, and I think I mistimed it. The hand swipe.
You might have. You're gonna have to play that back, and we're gonna have to see.
Yeah,
if
we'll
it
see.
actually
Let me know.
works
Let
or
me know
not.
in the comments. How did that look? How'd that look, guys? Did that look as cool as I thought it would? Um, we
Arguable, I guess. Regardless.
we have football this season or this week.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I expected us to have football this season. I didn't
Yes,
know if we were not going to or not, but
we
we
had
ended up.
football. We had Lions versus Chargers last week for the
We
Hall of
did.
Fame game, which congrats to everyone who got in. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But first, I have something I want to talk to you about. At
Sure.
the end of
Yeah.
last week's show, I mentioned I was going to see Fantastic Four, and you said you'd already seen Fantastic Four. So let's talk about Fantastic Four real quick.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, put a disclaimer up that we may have to mention
Yeah,
some
no
spoilers.
spoiler alert. I feel
Yeah,
like
possible
there's been
spoiler alert. If you can just skip through this part of the pod or the show because we may be talking about some sensitive topics for listeners that have not seen the movie. But
but
if you don't care either way, just skip through.
yes.
But what do you want to talk about with
What,
it?
what, what were your thoughts about it?
Well, funny enough, so last night I was feeling kind of mysterious. And I decided that I was going to watch the 2015 Fantastic Four movie. And
Okay.
when I went back and I rewatched that movie, I just realized how bad that movie was because I fell asleep halfway through it, and it was only like 10:30. So more or less, it's a little early for my bedtime for anybody that may or may not know me. But 10:30 is a little early for me to be falling asleep. So
Yeah, that
that being
movie's
said,
terrible.
that movie was awful. But when you go and you compare that 10 years ago to this movie now, it it's so much different. It's apples and oranges. I didn't go back to look at the '05 one yet. I haven't even gone back to look at that, but I know that one's really not that much better. But that 2015 one was bad. But this one that came out this year, I honestly think it was solid. I'm glad that they didn't have to do no. I'm glad they didn't do an origin story. They just kind of recapped it real quick. I'm glad that they kind of just went straight into the movie. Um, I'm not really happy that they made Galactus look kind of weak. That was a little annoying, but um, but I think it still made a pretty decent movie nonetheless. It's worth the watch, more or less. Back to back, really good movies with Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. So
And hot take, I don't know if you've watched it. I liked Ironheart. I watched it. I watched the whole show in one day. I enjoyed it.
I haven't
But
watched it yet, so I wouldn't
but
know.
I have a soft spot for Fantastic Four for the '05 movies.
And the
I
2015 one, I
No,
imagine
I
too.
hate
You
the
really
2015 one.
you
The
love the 2015
2015
one.
one just needs to be forgotten about. I like Kate Mara. I like Miles Teller as actors and actresses. Hate that movie. But the new one, I really enjoyed it. And I was glad that like Galactus, like his power was shown, but he wasn't really like, I don't know. I'm glad they didn't kill him because that would have been weird, first of all, because he's like a force. But
Hmm.
I thought they did a really good job of making the Invisible Woman, Vanessa Kirby, Sue Storm, a powerful yet motherly character because I feel like that's how she is in a lot of the comics and a lot of the other stuff. And I feel like the other two movies um, either made her really like smart or they made her really like feminine and motherly and not really necessarily the smartest one in the room.
Hmm.
And this I thought felt like was a good balance. Like she did a good job of keeping Reed in line, keeping Johnny in line, but she was also soft when she needed to be as well. And so
Yeah,
that was enjoyable. I liked it. I like where
I
they're going.
think I think the actors and actresses were also very good at playing their parts. I don't think that there was a lot of bad acting at all. I mean, I never expected anything less from an MCU movie, but that, like I said, going back and watching that 2015 movie, even the acting was bad in it. So that was just not a good movie. But this
It was
this movie, what?
fantastic. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's awesome. But yeah, no, this one was solid. The end credit scene though, that's
Oh,
boiling. It's boiling up for
yeah,
some
don't
exciting
spoil that.
stuff.
Let's
No,
let's
that
let's
that's
talk let's talk about football
all right.
though.
How
I
how
want to
can we transition this into football? Are we
well,
looking for a fantastic preseason week?
I'll tell you what. Nico Reed played fantastic in the Hall of Fame game, and he
And
is
they
not a.
won 34-7.
Yeah, I was wrong. I was wrong. I will say,
Yeah,
but
that was not expected.
Nico Reed, he's an undrafted free agent who I truthfully didn't wasn't on my radar. But after he picked off Kyle Allen, which the ball was super underthrown. It was just a terrible ball by Kyle Allen, but a great read by Nico. No pun
Mhm.
intended. I started watching him when he was playing, and he is a great route. Like he's great at reading receivers' routes, great at jumping routes. Um, really fun player to watch. Who I could easily see making the 53-man roster for the Chargers, and I could also see him becoming an issue where you know how sometimes DBs will like try to jump the routes of more experienced wide receivers and then they miss timing.
Mhm.
You know, they lose their guy then because of that. I could see that becoming an issue with him. But on the other hand, I could also see him becoming a ball hawk in the NFL.
Yeah, it definitely could happen. I mean, they just have to utilize him more this next game that they have. I don't think they play this week? Because I don't know since they have the Hall of Fame game if they're off this week or when they play again. But I was going to say they got to utilize him a lot more in that next game to really make him shine because that's what a lot of the preseason games do. Obviously, is to make these young players shine. But the only way to really make them shine and make them look as good as we believe they are is to have them play and be able to
Mhm.
showcase their talents so that everybody is talking about them. Because obviously, there's a good bit of people talking about him, maybe not as much, but especially especially as the time goes on, he needs to make that roster, and the only way to do that is by outshining everybody else going in. But I think he could be kind of sneaky going in. And I probably would say that at the beginning of the season, he'll probably be used more as a depth piece rather than anything like a starter type material. But he's going to be one of those players that might go in randomly that ends up for like in a Pittsburgh example, and I'm sure you could give a Bengals example, Josh, but like a player that nobody expects, and then next thing you know, he ends up like a Beanie Bishop, and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's kind of like a key piece to this puzzle for the Steelers. He's actually like not bad, and then it just keeps rolling from there. So, but I liked what I saw from him. So
Yeah. Um, I mentioned Ahmed Hassanine. I don't know why I said that at the end of last week's episode, and he played well. I think he looked good in the run defense. He wasn't as much of a pressure pass rusher as I expected him to be, but I like that he got some snaps. I like that he played well. Really, I think the stars for the Lions were Dominic Lovett and Isaac Tesla, which were
yeah,
just two guys who love it, especially seventh round pick. I believe. I know he's their final pick. I think he was taken in the seventh round. But yeah, I know Dion was really excited about him on his live stream. Which, if you're a Lions fan, I honestly enjoy hopping into the game day live streams with Dose of Dion. He just puts a great show together. So go over to Dose of Dion. Shout out. Um, check him out, and you'll enjoy like just all the information he provides, the community he's built over there. It's a great time. But yeah, I was following along with him, and he was pointing out Levette, Tesla, And I was in there, I was commenting like, how's Hassanein doing? Because I cannot say his name right today. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, Hassanein.
Come on, bring out that communications in you. You
Yeah,
know,
we
get
were
that enunciation.
I was like, how's he doing? Because I couldn't watch it on TV, so I was watching it through the app, and I couldn't like quite see, so I went back and watched it later. But yeah, he was helping me find these guys, and that was when like he started pointing out the different people, and it was a really fun game to watch from the perspective of watching the young guys get good tape on. Because yes, it was that 34-7 blowout, but getting to see guys like Nico Reed play and make their name known, like people are paying attention to him now. Getting Dominic Levitt, getting him some, people are paying attention to him. Kyle Allen did not have a great game. However, I know you mentioned you wanted to talk about the other quarterback, the Chargers quarterback, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think somebody that most people were unsure where he was rostered at probably in this offseason finally got to shine a little bit. And although he's not going to compete with Justin Herbert in the slightest, I think Trey Lance had himself a pretty good game, all things considered. I believe he finished with 120 yards and about 2 touchdowns, I believe it was. And I want to say he looked like almost kind of like that first round talent that we were expecting from him a couple of years ago in San Fran. I mean, obviously, it's one game, it's preseason. There's a lot that could happen over the next couple of weeks in preseason where he doesn't look as good. But I honestly was pretty impressed with some of the ways that he was moving, some of the ways that he was throwing, and he was just connecting really good on in that game. And I think that also very much helped them expand their lead. So I don't know. I think Trey Lance was very impressive in that game, and I think a lot of people have been talking about him, and I'm glad just because I feel like he's now being talked about. And during the offseason, as we talked about last week on the show, and if you haven't watched the show from last week, definitely go check it out. It's on our YouTube channel under streams. So in that video, we mentioned Trey Lance was just most people forgot about him. It's just like, oh, most people didn't even know he was on the Chargers. I mean, I was one of the
Mhm.
people that didn't know that he was even signed to the Chargers until we really talked about it. I mean, I heard he was starting and then I forgot about it. And then we talked about it. I'm like, oh yeah, Chargers guy. Yeah. So, but it's pretty interesting just because he ended up playing very, very well. And honestly, could be a very solid backup for the Chargers if, God forbid, Justin Herbert goes down.
Yeah, and something I want to like clarify because I think a lot of people will hear this and say, "Well, yeah, Trey Lance, but he was going up against third stringers. He was going up against backups." It wasn't for me. It wasn't so much the stats that Trey Lance was putting up. It was how confident he looked in the pocket throwing the ball, and that isn't something you always see from backup quarterbacks. That isn't always something you see from guys who went from third overall picks to getting hurt and being traded and then being cut. I mean, he looked confident in the pocket. He looked like a guy who knew what he was doing. He was an experienced quarterback. He's no longer, they mentioned this on the broadcast, he's no longer one of the young guys in camp. He is a veteran. And whether we've seen him on TV, whether we've seen him with the firsts, that doesn't really have much to do with it. The fact is, a lot of these young guys in that are coming into the league are going to look to Trey Lance because he's been around for a while. He's been in these training camps. He's been in multiple different organizations. He's been in multiple organizations under good coaches, guys who have been around for a while. Kyle Shanahan, Mike McCarthy, say what you want about him, but he's been around the league for a long time. He knows how the game works. And now he's with Jim Harbaugh. So it it's a good guy to have in your locker room who has that sort of experience. And I just thought Trey Lance, he looked confident. He knew where he was throwing the ball. I thought his accuracy and form was a lot better than what we saw in San Francisco. We didn't see him a lot in Dallas. But yeah, if they still have Taylor Heineke that's fighting for that position. But I think if Trey Lance can continue that what we saw against the Detroit Lions, he has a very strong argument to be the QB2 in Los Angeles. And I liked that after the first half, Jim Harbaugh wasn't like, okay, you played great. You did a perfect half. He threw him back out there in the second half. He said, okay, we took a break. You're no longer hot. Let's see what you can do. And he went back out there and did it again. Because that's what you'll need in a real game too. So I thought Trey Lance played well. So Chargers do play against the Saints on Saturday at 4:05 p.m. So we can keep an eye out for Nico Reed, Trey Lance, and anyone else who you might love with the Chargers.
No, but I did want to add one more thing with Trey Lance. Even if the Chargers do end up going with Heineke, and also disclaimer, my dog is going absolutely berserk upstairs. I've been muted this last 5 minutes while you were talking because she was very angry about something. I'm assuming there was some sort of delivery today, but I'm not really sure what was going on. Maybe somebody's soliciting. But regardless, I think another thing that needs to be put out there with Trey Lance too is even if he doesn't get the starting position, there's a good chance that he's not going to be on like the block long. So like if they're like putting him on the trading block or they put him on practice squad or whatever, he's not going to be off. He's not going to be on the Chargers for that long or going to be in the news for that long because he's going to end up on a different team. And I honestly think that team would probably end up being somebody like the Saints who could like kind of invest in him because like the Saints really are struggling in that position. And I mean, if I was the Saints, and the Chargers are like, well, we're not going to go with Lance because we already signed, Heineke, and we're going to keep with the contract, which I don't know if they would, but let's say they do, and they have him back up, Herbert. I mean, they could really get something, I mean, Chargers could go make a deal, get a fifth, sixth round pick, probably sixth, I imagine, and send Trey Lance over there, and the Saints could really win out in that because Trey Lance, remember, is a former first round pick. It's not like he's like a Mitchell Trubisky type guy who kind of fell off. Trey Lance never really had the chance to be on to begin with. He kind of just got hurt, and then they just said, "Yeah, you're done, buddy." So
Yeah.
but we'll see. We'll see.
He's still young too.
Right, and you
he's
have
only
time
25.
to develop him. And that was the argument the Jets organization made when they took Fields for that 2 years. They're like, well, he's still young, and if he ends up panning out, he could be our guy for the next decade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Lance was a young prospect. So yeah, he's been in the league since 2021, that Trevor Lawrence class, but and Justin Fields class, but he's young. He's only 25. So, yeah, I could definitely see a team trading for him. I think the Saints would be a good, example of that because they've got Tyler Shuck and who else? They've got Spencer
Rattler.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, maybe they do.
You're looking at slim pickings over there. I mean,
let's.
I'm very interested to see how the Saints look this year, but I don't expect them to run with just those two guys. I'm expecting sometime by the end of preseason them to have somebody else in their quarterback. Whether it is, we've talked about it before the show, whether it's somebody like any one of the 8 million quarterbacks that Cleveland has or somebody like Trey Lance. So, I mean, it's possible. So.
Well, speaking of Cleveland and trades, let's go into this a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk about this one. Yeah, this is pretty interesting, right?
Shedeur Sanders.
Man, how can this guy just always be so often in the news? And he didn't even do anything.
No, he didn't even do anything. I'm starting to feel bad for him.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree.
Like Shedeur, I don't. So you got the Browns.
Well, that's
well run organization as always.
Right.
They've got Deshaun Watson, who's injured.
Yeah. Is he going to be out? Well, disclaimer: is he out for the year? Out for half the year? Do we know his injury?
I think he's like a question mark as to how long he's going to be injured because he re-injured himself. Remember?
Oh,
when
yeah,
he was
right.
Allegedly not dancing on the side of the road when he wasn't supposed to be, and all that.
Very
yeah.
Nice, yeah.
You got Joe Flacco. So Joe Flacco's the current starter.
Yeah, 41. He's up there too.
Yeah, he's up there.
I mean, I can't speak. Aaron Rodgers is also up there.
You got Dylan Gabriel, who they drafted this year.
Yep.
Shedeur Sanders, who was supposed to supposedly be a first round pick, who ended up getting drafted after not only Tyler Shuck, but also Dylan Gabriel, who's currently on the Browns, which would make a New Orleans Saints trade even funnier to me if the Saints ended up trading for Shedeur.
Yeah.
But anyway, then they also just signed. Oh, I forgot about your boy Kenny Pickett. He's been hurt.
Yeah.
They got him.
Yeah.
And then they just signed Tyler Snoop Huntley. So they're just like, they have all the quarterbacks. So Shedeur he's been limited in practice. He's been sitting out of practices due to shoulder soreness, according to reports. But he is expected to play. I believe tomorrow is their preseason game. He's expected to start 7:00 against the Panthers. Yep. Or Friday. What is today? Thursday? Yeah, Friday is their game. Anyway.
No, today is Wednesday.
Today is Wednesday. They play Friday.
Okay.
I
thought you
tomorrow.
said today was Thursday.
No.
Today is not Thursday. Tomorrow is Thursday. Yes. So they play Friday. Cool. All right.
On the same page.
Great.
Shedeur could be on the trade block, theoretically. And I know, like, normally you would say, well, they're not going to trade a guy that they just drafted. But they also drafted 2 quarterbacks.
They also have 6 quarterbacks. That's a lot of quarterbacks to work with.
They're going to have to cut a bunch of people. They traded for Kenny Pickett. They drafted Dylan and Shedeur. So you've got stock in 3 of your guys. You're not going to cut Joe Flacco. Probably not going to cut Deshaun, even though you should have done that like 2 years ago.
And you just signed Huntley.
You could probably cut Huntley and not be an issue. But you've got 3 guys you got investments in. You're going to have to cut probably 1 or 2 of them. So I don't know what the Browns are doing. I
don't think the Browns really know what they're doing, to be honest. Hence why they also signed Huntley after already having 4 quarterbacks in the rotation.
What are your thoughts on the fact, like, do you think that, like, let's say, well, actually, let's just compare him to the guy we just talked about. Let's say Shedeur goes out there and he just has a Trey Lance type performance. He just looks great. Do you think there's a team, though, that would trade for him? I mean, 32 teams passed on Shedeur in this year's draft multiple times.
Right. And that's the problem that I kind of face with the entire Shedeur Sanders thing is I've said it before. I was like, maybe there's something that other teams have talked about and GMs, organizations talked about that they didn't really like about Shedeur and his interviews and stuff. I mean, like I said, there's nothing in the media that really explicitly says this is what he did. I mean, there's been reports and stuff, but nothing confirmed,
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, even if he plays really well, there's still that question of, okay, well, would they make the move? I think it's very hard to tell just because there's a lot of teams that already have already invested in other quarterbacks. Like, the Giants over in New York, they have Russell Wilson starting and they have Jackson Dart as their second. They're not going to go and They're not going to go and trade for Shedeur. They already passed up on him. They already got Dart. And then there's guys like the Steelers, for example. I mean, the Steelers were going to be the clear guy to get Shedeur Sanders, and we ended up going with no quarterback really until the late rounds, which ended up being Will Howard. Once again, I don't really see the Steelers trading for him. And then you just like work your way down, and we could go over and over and talk about all these different quarterbacks and stuff, and not a lot of teams really make sense for trading for him. And that's the same thing with like Kenny Pickett. And I know he's my boy and stuff like that, but like a lot of these teams don't really need the depth piece. So, I mean, Kenny would probably be more of an argument in New Orleans right now, just because he has a couple years of experience over Shedeur being a rookie.
That's
and
true.
You have a lot of young guys down there. But even then, I mean, Kenny Pickett he's had more starting experience, but like even then, like, I mean, he hasn't been the greatest quarterback ever. So it's not like he's been a great backup. I mean, he's been all right, but yeah, it would be really interesting to see, just because would you cut Shedeur? No, you'd probably put him on your practice squad. Sure, somebody would pick him up eventually, but it's a very time will tell type situation. I kind of feel bad though, in a sense. I'm like, I hope he does well, but like not well enough because I don't want the Cleveland Browns to succeed. I want him to do really well on another team. You feel me, Josh? Coming from another
Yeah,
AFC North friend,
I do. That is an interesting point that I don't know why I didn't think about it. Like Kenny Pickett could get traded too. I don't know
right?
why. I don't know why I was set
You,
on
you
Shedeur
can't
getting traded.
you can't think about it like because they could theoretically go Joe Flacco, Gabriel, and Shedeur, cut Huntley, trade Pickett, and then Deshaun Watson's on IR. And then at that point, see where he's at for the injury by the time the trade deadline comes around.
Mm.
If week 8 rolls around and Deshaun Watson's ready to come back and you want to roll with him for whatever reason, then you got to figure out what you're doing with Gabriel and Shedeur, because nobody's going to trade for Joe Flacco. But you don't want to sacrifice. You don't at that point you don't want to sacrifice guys you already put stock into this season. So you would want to, so you don't want to cut them or put them on your practice squad to make room for Deshaun Watson. So you'd either have to cut somebody already on your active roster, which would maybe hurt your depth pieces or your special teams or something like that to make room for Watson, or you move him, which could help you at that point in time because there might be some teams that have quarterback injuries at that point in time. So I think, honestly, realistically, I think Kenny Pickett gets traded. Maybe he gets cut, but I think if I'm the Browns, I'd probably look to shop a trade with Kenny. And I think the first team you want to hit up is probably New Orleans. And then
that
work
could
your way
be.
down.
I mean, that could be. We could be looking back at this preseason game and going, "Hey, New Orleans saw what these guys looked like in Browns uniforms, and maybe Tyler Shuck does not have a great injury history.
Mm-mm.
So Tyler, let's not rooting for this, but just saying, doesn't have a good injury history. If he gets hurt, okay, Spencer Rattler's in there, and then you got Jake Hayner behind him. Is that how you feeling about that? If NFC South is expected to be weak again, if somehow they trip and fall into being a game or two away from a wild card spot,
do you want to put your money into these guys?
Yeah. So maybe at the trade deadline, you're thinking, hey, maybe we call up Cleveland. Remember that preseason game back in August? But yeah, I think that's a good point. We'll see what happens. But before we move on to this next segment, if you've made it this far, please consider subscribing. We really appreciate it. It helps us out. It's sincerely like how it's the craziness that subscribing does is huge. On YouTube, if you're not a YouTuber, you probably don't understand, but I promise it's a big deal. Also, we got merch, we got hats. This is actually the hat from the first distributor we used that I ordered back in April. It showed up yesterday. Apparently, canceling your account will get you your stuff, but same design, different distributor, and I like the new hats a lot better. And I enjoy them. We also have these Piper's Picks stickers. Piper is currently at my feet, hiding from thunder, but the link to buy that will be in the description. It just we're not getting rich off of this. It just helps us pay for some software that we use, different subscriptions we have to get research for you, and the more of that we have, the better content we can put out for you guys. So I'd appreciate anything you can buy, even if it's just a sticker. Even if you're just like, this is literally a $5 sticker. Okay, that helped. That goes a long way. I appreciate all of you who subscribe. And if you can't afford to buy anything right now, completely understand. Just go ahead, hit like, share, comment down below. Now, let's talk about the Colts. The Indianapolis Colts.
All right.
This is my thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is not something that I really know too much about.
The
I don't even
Indianapolis Colts are freaking terrible, man. When it comes,
this is like a complete opposite of the Bengals. Whenever I hear you get this fired up, you're about to say the Cincinnati Bengals are the best team ever, and I thought you were about to say the Indianapolis Colts are awesome, and then you said they were bad.
No, they already had a shallow secondary, and I will give them. They brought in Charvarius Ward. They brought in Cam Bynum. Charvarius Ward is questionable. Juju Brents is questionable. Jalen Carlisle's, who's a linebacker, he's questionable. Jalen Jones is also questionable. And now your rookie, I believe, 3rd round pick, Justin Wally, he got a knee injury against in the Ravens joint practice. Like this was going to be the guy who, like, he was supposed to shine during this Ravens preseason game. He was going to look great, and I think he could be great. He's got potential on special teams as well, I believe. But now he's injured. Everyone's injured on this team. The whole defense is injured, and they just have no one. They are going to be walking into this game without either of their starting cornerbacks, their backup cornerback. They've got some beat up linebackers. Their offense is fine and healthy, but they still don't know who their quarterback is. So, I mean, like, at what point, if you're a team, do you start saying, first of all, Juju, I believe it's Juju Brents. I get Juju and Jalen mixed up. I will be honest about that. But I believe it's Juju Brents who just has never gotten it off the ground. He hasn't been great. And then Jalen Jones has just perpetually just struggled with injury. And so it, like, you got to do something at some point. And I know, again, they brought in Travarius Ward and they drafted people, but it's like, why are we already, like, it's preseason and we're already talking about how the Colts aren't going to be good. And you had all these great draft picks.
There's still another team that we're with giant question mark with the quarterback situation over there too, right? Is that still a question over there?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no one knows. They're gonna Shane Steichen came out yesterday, I believe it was, and said that Anthony's gonna start a quarter and a half for this game, I believe it is, and then put Daniel Jones in, and then next game it'll flip.
Very interesting.
But wow. There is no, like, reporting from Indiana. There's, like, no hype around this team right now. Normally, like, right now there's, like, hype and, like, they're like, oh yeah, football season's coming. We're like, you know, like, everyone's excited. There is more hype around the Indiana Fever right now than there is about the Indianapolis Colts.
It's just that they're coming down off of that high from the Pacers run. I mean, that Pacers run was magical. Unfortunately, it ended just short, but I feel like a lot of energy went into the Pacers because that ended in what? That ended in like middle of June, and then you still have the Fever going on too. I feel like the state's just really focused on basketball right now because the Fever are also really good. They're not too bad right now, right? I don't feel
yeah,
like
no, they're not. They're not bad. Clark's been injured, so that obviously hurts kind of the hype. But I don't know. The Pacers are weird to me because I don't watch the NBA, but I also don't see a lot of stuff talking about them here, and it's really weird because it's Indiana.
What do you guys talk about sports?
I see more stuff about the Fever, which I'm sure it's different in Indianapolis. I'm not near Indianapolis. But like the area I'm in is more college and high school basketball. And then just like everyone was talking about Caitlin Clark.
Right.
Like, it's the Caitlin Clark was everywhere. Like there are murals of Caitlin Clark near where I live. So
well, I mean, icon to the sport of women's basketball. Right. So
and I know Tyrese Halliburton, but like the Pacers just aren't as hyped up. Zach Edey was more hyped in this where I'm at than Tyrese Halliburton was. But
Tyrese Halliburton, let's go.
Shut up. I like him. I felt bad for. I watched that game. Maybe that was the problem. I watched the game that he got hurt in. It's my fault.
Shout out TJ McConnell too. Love.
I do know who that is. I do know who that is.
You know who TJ is?
Because of you. Yep.
Yeah. Good guy. Good guy.
And his sister's in the WNBA. But anyway, yeah, there is no hype around this Indianapolis Colts team right now. I mean, I don't even know how you advertise it. Like, when you don't know who your quarterback is, when you don't have any like real defensive stars, like who would you say that a Colts defensive star is? Who's the first person on the Colts defense that comes to mind for you?
I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, see, like
That's like I don't know who my favorite would be. I know, or the
not
top
even your
defender.
favorite. If not even your favorite. If I just say Indianapolis Colts defense, who is the first player that comes to mind?
Um, I got to think about it real quick. I'm blanking.
Exactly.
I'm blanking because there's nobody that like sticks out. You know, it's not like
Exactly.
it's
This
not like
team,
it's. You know, I don't mean it in a bad way. It's not like you know, I don't know football. I just can't think about it right now.
this team is just not marketable right now. And it's the first time in my lifetime that the Colts haven't been marketable. Because even when they sucked, they still had marketable guys on offense and defense.
Right. I'm still bothered by this. Well, we just talked about wait. Didn't we just talk about one like Leatu Latu, that guy? He's the guy. But isn't he a
Leatu
rookie?
Latu is the
Yeah.
face of the Colts.
Yeah, he's the face of the Colts. But like I don't think he'd be obviously he's not the face of the Colts, but he's the only one I can think of right now. I don't even here, let me pull up the roster real quick. Let me look at this
He
let me
had
look at this Colts
32 combined. He had 4 sacks last year and 32 combined tackles. He's the face of the Colts defense. Okay.
Yeah. Leatu Latu. Let's go.
I like Leatu Latu, so I'm good with that. I just got an autograph of his in the mail. So
None of these guys scream to me. I mean, DeForest Buckner, maybe, I guess. I guess. And that's the problem, though. If I can't even, like, in every team, I can pretty much point out one defensive player that they have. And the Colts, it's not that the Colts defense is, like, necessarily bad, but they're just not noteworthy. If
I
that
mean,
makes sense.
you're not gonna market Travarius Ward, who just got there, or Cam Bynum. You can maybe do
Right.
Zaire Franklin, but he kind of fell off last year. So what's he gonna look like? And he's
Right.
a nice story. I
Also,
hope he
why
bounces
is
back.
half the defense on ESPN say questionable?
Because they're all injured. That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
like, this is ridiculous. What is happening here? I honestly think you guys should say screw advertising the defense. You should focus more on the long snapper.
What? Luke Rhodes?
Yeah, I think that's cool because
Okay.
he's like Cody Rhodes,
Oh,
only his name's
okay.
Luke,
Okay.
not Cody.
You
But
need to stop.
but yeah, I mean, I'm just saying though, like it's bad because like I genuinely just could not think of anybody right off the top of my head because you think of you literally think of like any other team and I could probably think of somebody. So, but
Yeah, you
it's
can.
tough right now.
I feel like every team has a defensive player and a offensive player that like at least one where you can just be like even the Saints have Chris Olave and Cam Jordan. Boom.
Right, exactly. But like, and that's the thing, because and even on offense, you could even argue Alvin Kamara for the Saints too. I mean, there's so many different options you can. But like with the Colts, even I feel like the problem that I feel like I'm focusing on with the Colts right now is I just feel like I just don't know the roster. Like I look at this roster and I'm like, these guys just don't like they just don't stick out to me. Like the only one that I really know is like Daniel Jones. Like if you like, I mean, obviously I might like. I mean, like I said, I know the team. I'm not stupid, but like when you look at the roster and you're not like a
That broke
casual,
my
it's like, oh
heart.
yeah, like what?
That broke my heart.
What do you mean it broke your heart?
The only
Daniel
Colts player you know is Daniel Jones.
No, that's not true because I know like Michael Pittman Jr. and others. But my point is like when you look at this team, you're just kind of like when you think of like news and stuff like that. Like Pittman Jr. Although he's good, he's not like talked about as much as like a Jamar Chase, T Higgins. Like he's just kind of like there. Like he just kind of like he's if you're watching fantasy, you know like who he is. But like if you're not, like whenever I ask friends of mine that are just like not watching, they're like, "Oh, I know of Justin Jefferson or I know DK Metcalf." Like they kind of know the bigger names, but like they don't really know of like your players like Michael Pittman Jr. I'm sorry that offended you so much. I didn't realize that would
What about
hurt your
Jonathan?
feelings.
What about Jonathan Taylor?
Okay, Jonathan Taylor is another good one. That's another good offensive player
This
that
team
I
isn't
totally
marketable. We cannot market this team. This is
but the thing is Jonathan Taylor is another one. He had a bunch of injuries, and now you're trying to bring him back. He's good, but like he's forgotten about, and that's the thing. Like coming from like just somebody that just kind of like looks at the team from like just a giant whiteboard. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor is good, but another thing is a casual fan going to know that. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, if you look. Okay, here's
I
another
would
thing.
hope a casual fan would know Jonathan Taylor.
You would think, right? But okay, let's see. You open up the fantasy app and let's see who the top 10 players are.
I would
Okay.
hope Jonathan Taylor has to be on that list.
All right, starting with number 1. Actually, we'll throw out this whole list here. Actually, no, this is showing me quarterbacks. I don't want quarterbacks. I want just the top 10 players. All right. First player, Jamar Chase.
Dang straight.
Okay. Number 2, Bijan Robinson. My bad.
Okay.
Okay.
Must
Number
have
3
named him.
is JJ Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Makes sense. Little hedgehog.
CeeDee Lamb.
Okay.
Christian McCaffrey.
Rebound season, baby.
Puka Nacua.
That's kind of shocking.
Malik Neighbors.
That makes sense.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Sun
Where's
God.
Jonathan Taylor? But like that's my point. Like he's just not even like he's not talked about. Like it's not like he's like put on there with like the top, even in the top 10. He's probably gonna have a great production year.
Is he in the top 15 at least?
All right, I would hope so.
Where is Jonathan Taylor? Tell me where Jonathan Taylor is.
Okay. Watch, he's 11. He'll be 11. No, I actually don't know. Let's look. Okay. Trending, available all matchup stats. It would be better if they like showed me more of like a best best players ESPN fantasy draft 2025 list. Mike Clay's PPR. Well, it keeps showing me quarterbacks here. Oh, no, here it is. Jonathan Taylor is listed as 17.
Top 20.
So he is he is below he is below Drake London, as well as the rookie Ashton Gianti or Gianti. Yeah, Gianti. Achan, Nico Collins, Brian Thomas Jr., AJ Brown. AJ Brown makes sense. He's a little lower. I mean, he's up there, but he's not like I don't know. It's just really weird. He's just not like that's the thing. Like I'd forget, casually.
That's crazy.
So
that's crazy.
Sorry that the Colts aren't marketable right now.
The Colts aren't marketable. That's our takeaway here. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the Steelers. Will Howard. What's going on with him? Tell me about him.
I think it's I don't know if it's a crazy enough injury to panic, but it's an injury enough. I believe it's a hand injury or upper body, if you will. But he is not expected to miss too much time from what I'm gathering here, but he is having some sort of bone fracture, I believe, in his hand. So he's sidelined, and he probably will not play on Saturday. But I don't think it's a long-term injury to worry about it. I mean, he's still going to make the depth chart. I imagine the Steelers are not going to keep Skylar Thompson. I just don't see that happening. So I just can't see that happening. So your 3 quarterbacks are going to be Aaron, Mason, and Will, and your starting quarterback is going to be Aaron, and your most likely your quarterback 2 is going to be Mason. Not that Will Howard can't jump that spot, but because of this injury, it probably set him back, and he's probably just he'll still make the 53-man roster. He's just not going to get dressed. He's going to be like Mason was a couple years ago, where he's not the starter, but he's not going to be dressed. He's on the depth chart, but he's not dressed for the game, more or less.
What are the vibes in Pittsburgh about this season? Are we thinking this is a Super Bowl season, or is this a transition season?
Nah, this is a big season for Pittsburgh. I feel like over here there's a lot. It's like boom or bust, which is weird because it's like we haven't won a playoff game in over a decade. But like this is like one of those years where it's like, all right, we have Aaron Rodgers. The Steelers are now in the news for possibly acquiring Terry McLaurin. You get Scary Terry on there with DK.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, that is a rumor that I guess the Steelers have once again reached out about Scary Terry. So you throw You throw him into the mix with DK Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers. You have a really solid offensive line. You've got Caleb Johnson, rookie running back that looks like he's going to be great, with Jaylen Warren, who's already shown what kind of ability he can have, as well as a running back 3 in Kenneth Gainwell. it looks like it's a good backfield up there. And then you upgraded your tight end position with Jonnu Smith, which once again to be determined on what they do with the routes and such. Because if they don't get Scary Terry, then it's just going to be DK Metcalf, and then most likely a lot of double, triple tight end packages, which will be interesting.
12 personnel.
Yeah, and then you look at the defense, and you've got players that people aren't even thinking of. Cole Holcomb's coming back. On top of that, you have players like still TJ Watt just got extended. You still have Alex Highsmith. You have Jack Sawyer, who's going to be very interesting to see how he looks. You've got rookies on the defensive line. You got a pretty good amount of cornerbacks too, with Darius Slay, Joey Porter Jr., and Jalen Ramsey. And then you still have you still have like a strong foundation back there as well. So I think the team, they claim they say this every year, but they're like, the vibes are different at training camp. And I'm like, the vibes are every year, the vibes are different. This doesn't change how, the other guy, I don't know why I was blanking on him. Deshaun Elliott was the other guy. The strong
also have
safety.
Roman
Also,
Wilson.
you have Roman Wilson doesn't exist. Who's that?
Roman Wilson?
Who is that?
He's a great wide receiver out of Michigan, I heard.
Oh,
he's gonna
shame. I've never heard of him. But
I hope he goes for 1,000 yards.
Yeah, well, the joke right now is that he doesn't exist because like they just don't do anything with him. There's a joke right now on like a lot of like some of the Pittsburgh social media pages where it's just like they'll mention Roman Wilson and people will be like, "Who's that?" and it's not that we don't know who he is. It's just he just doesn't.
There'll be no Roman Wilson disrespect. I don't know why.
Anyway,
why am I defending him? I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah. Either way, point being is that there's a weird vibe going on, and I feel like this season people are expecting like a crazy Aaron Rodgers rally, which would be really weird, but I could see it happening because like nothing surprises me anymore. I could see it being like Pittsburgh goes to the AFC Championship just to lose to the freaking Kansas City Chiefs, but the Steelers fans are like, "Oh my gosh," and then nothing ever happens again, because next year we'll go 9-8, and then that'll be it. We'll just have one really crazy year because of Aaron Rodgers. So, but I think it's a weird year because I think a lot of people are expecting the team to be better. I think the team is better. The quarterback situation is still a little questionable because you always risk the possibility of Aaron Rodgers getting hurt at any point because of his age. The offensive line should be able to hold him, especially for his play style that he's been doing in the practice and like what Arthur Smith is cooking up. I think Aaron Rodgers should be okay. But the concern still is one or two hits from somebody like, Trey or Miles. It's gonna rattle him a little bit, and it might hurt him a little bit more as you get up there in age. And this is his last year. You obviously don't want to see him get benched. I can't see him get benched, but I think the only way he'd get benched is if he ends up hurting himself, just because he's been, just older and whatnot. But I think this year will be very interesting, just because the team seems to like him, and they seem eager and excited. And I think the vibes right now in Pittsburgh is that we're going to get a playoff win. And I think that's what we're mostly excited about, is just getting that one playoff win, because I'm tired of hearing about no playoff wins. I think this season people want an 11-6 record with a wild card win, and then nothing else matters. But I think a lot of people have this. I don't think it's necessarily everyone's just like, we're not. I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there that are like a little delusional. But I'm not one of those guys. But I think that it's possible that this team could be a sneaky team. It's a team that not a lot of teams or people are counting out just because of our past history and because of Aaron Rodgers. There is nothing saying that Aaron Rodgers couldn't go out there, ball out like Tom Brady for one last year, win a Super Bowl, and retire. Will he do it in this offense? Don't say the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, maybe the Cincinnati Bengals, but I don't know if the Cincinnati Bengals this year. Maybe next year, but you guys are building though. Yeah, you also have to sign Trey. You also have to sign Trey. Where's this extension of Trey yet? When you do that, then we're going to be seeing a defense build here. But I'm a little
Trust.
concerned
I'm
about
just
this
saying
move
the vibes are different this year. The vibes are
in
different.
Cincinnati. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
I
is that?
mean,
Why are the vibes different?
well, I am so glad you asked.
Mm.
Um, so big thing this year that the Bengals are doing. Zach Taylor finally figured it out. Starting some of the starters during preseason games instead of just having their first snaps. He did it a little bit last year, but
He didn't do it enough.
Joe Burrow will be playing. I believe Thursday is our game. Yes, Thursday, 7:30 against the Eagles. Jamar is expected to play a little bit as well,
Okay.
Mr. 99 Club. But I think that's a big deal because Bengals have had slow starts. They start in 0-2 every season. You can't be doing that. And going up against the Browns in week 1, let alone the
That
fact that it's
should be an easy win for you guys, all things
it's a
considered.
division rival. It should be an easy divisional win.
Aren't you guys
Uh,
home that game too?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't see a reason why you guys should even be
There
questioning
isn't.
that, right?
There isn't one. But weird stuff happens. Weird stuff happened last year in week 1 with the Patriots where they just collapsed. Um
Yeah.
so I I do though. I like this draft class a lot. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Shamar Stewart is putting in good work now that he's practicing. I'm liking. He's strong, man. He's strong. He went up against Jalen Rivers, who I believe is the fifth round, sixth round pick. I can't remember if he got taken in the 6th round with Taj Brooks or not. But anyway, he went up against Jalen Rivers. He moved him. He like just bulldozed him backwards. And Jalen's a big guy. They're talking about moving Jalen to guard as well, having a little bit of a guard competition there, which is good. I think that fits his frame a little bit better. I also do hope that they bring in a veteran guard, another veteran guard like Brandon Scherf or Will Hernandez to kind of, add to that competition. We haven't seen that yet. Maybe those guys don't want to go through training camp, and that's part of the reason why. But we'll see. We'll see. But I mean, everyone's excited about their rookies every year, but I get a smile on my face watching these guys, watching Taj Brooks catching balls out of the backfield, watching Shamar Stewart just absolutely bulldoze guys. I mean, if you can have Shamar Stewart and Trey Hendrickson on the line, and then have Miles Murphy in as like a rotational guy on one side and Joseph Asai on the other, that's a pretty good line. I don't know. The vibes are different. As they say in Pittsburgh, the vibes are different.
The vibes are, I guess, different in Cincinnati this year, guys. And you heard it here first with the No Buts About It show that the vibes are
Joe
different. Not
Joe
only
Burrow was supposed to win MVP last year, and they said you can't do it because you had a losing record. Bengals upgraded their. I think the Bengals defense is going to be much better than a lot of people give them credit for as well. I will go. I bet. I will put
I can
this
guarantee you're gonna. What is that?
this trading card on the line of
What? Okay.
beloved Lions running back Sion Vaki, and this one of beloved Baltimore Ravens quarterback Devin Leary.
Uh,
I'll even put
okay.
this colored one on the line as well.
Okay.
The Bengals defense. Those are just the only 3 cards I had right here. The Bengals defense will be in the top 50% of defenses.
So they're gonna be somewhere. They're gonna be like 18th then, I guess, 17 or
They
16.
just need to be 16 or better.
Okay, 16 or better.
They will be 16 or better. That is my promise. And the Bengals also have kind of said we were losing games when we were scoring 40 points a game. So we're just going to score 50 points a game and fix
No.
that issue.
Okay.
I like that solution.
Who's your running back again?
Chase Brown.
Oh, you're right. I saw Big Moss got cut, so I was like, oh.
We got Chase Brown.
I forgot about Chase Brown. That's another thing. I forget about a lot of these players whenever the offseason hits. We deep in the offseason. I just go deep into other things and I forget. So I'm like, oh, Chase Brown. I forgot about that guy.
We got Chase Brown, Samaje Perine that we brought back, and we've got Taj Brooks, which I think I'm excited about Taj.
This running back class was so good, and nobody's talking about how good this running back class was.
I want Taj Brooks on this show.
That's also very good.
I messaged Taj Brooks, and I was like, I want you on the show. He has not messaged back yet, but I want him. I need him on this show. He's exciting. I'm excited about him. There is someone else I've been messaging about having on this show, and that might happen next week. Might have a special show next week. Don't have that confirmed yet, but stay tuned for that.
This is news to me, guys. I actually have no idea what the heck he's talking about.
You do know what the heck I'm talking about. You're just forgetting. I mentioned.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
See,
I do remember that. Yeah. Is that confirmed?
It's confirmed that he will come. Whether it'll be next week is not yet confirmed.
Okay, which I did know that. Yep.
Okay.
Alrighty, so I did know. Once again, I just forgot.
Do not let him. Don't let him trick you into thinking I don't tell him things.
Okay, so here's the thing, guys. My brain is very interesting. I don't tend to remember short-term things, but then those short-term things I remember in very vivid detail in a year. It's very interesting.
Concussion.
What?
That sounds like a concussion.
I've just had a concussion forever.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't remember hitting my head off anything. Maybe I should get this checked out. But nonetheless, I mean, I'll remember it. Like I'll remember like things. Like if like this show specifically, I probably won't remember in a couple of days that well. But then next year I'll be able to recite it detail to detail. So it just happens. It's just things like that happen. Yeah, I don't know. I just have a lot going on, and I imagine Josh does too. But somehow he has a better mind than I do when it comes to things like this. As you saw, I couldn't recite anybody really from the Colts today. Forgot that Chase Brown was on the Bengals. Forgot that we had a special guest possibly coming next week. Tough. Hope he doesn't come the following week because that's a tricky week for me. So
we got 3 minutes. What are your quick thoughts? Quick thoughts on the NFL ESPN merger.
Oh, yes. So that was really interesting because the one thing that I'm curious about is, so ESPN has their own fantasy app, but they also have just acquired the NFL fantasy app as well. Mm-hmm. Are they going to still be separate, or is ESPN going to try to move everybody from the NFL fantasy app to ESPN? That's something that a lot of people aren't talking about because a lot of people are talking about Red Zone, which I don't blame them, but I don't use Red Zone as much as like you do, Josh. But I'm curious to hear what you think about it. I think it's an interesting move, but ESPN's making a lot of moves last couple of days because of their ESPN subscription thing, because like they did a deal with WWE today too, which was also all over the place today. So they've been doing a lot of weird moves because they have their streaming service come out in like 2 weeks. So this, I think, although isn't really entirely connected to the stream deal, it does kind of interlink with everything ESPN's been kind of doing in preparation for this giant drop, whatever it's called. I'm just going to call it ESPN because it's not ESPN Plus. It's just ESPN streaming service. So, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting.
According to NFL.com, they're going to merge the apps, and NFL Fantasy will go into ESPN Fantasy.
That sucks. That really sucks because I hate the ESPN Fantasy app, like with a burning passion. Like what?
I love the ESPN one's my favorite, but
what do you mean? Like the design is gross now. It's ugly.
I mean, yeah, I don't like the new update.
I think it's my favorite too. All of my apps are on. The only other app that I use is Sleeper, but that's for dynasty leagues.
I hate Sleeper. Unless Sleeper sponsors us. Sleeper.
No, I like Sleeper. I mean, you were like
my love can be bought. My love can be bought though.
I think it's a good app. I like ESPN too, but I think they change it every single year.
I think Sleeper has too much going on.
You're just looking in the wrong spots.
I'm stupid. I need a
Why are
simple.
you? What do you mean it has so much going on? All you
I think
do
it.
is here.
I,
I'll open my sleeper app right now. See, you open your sleeper app right
no,
now.
we
See, I'm
don't need to
opening it up,
go. No.
and then see. Look, it says these are my fantasy apps, right, or my fantasy team. So I'll join this one. This is my uh this is my team. See, it's called I Believe because it's my dynasty team, and I have Bo Nix on it. Um,
I don't
I don't
have
see
like
anything wrong with it. Match teams,
I would.
players, league.
I
And then you
would.
go back, you press the arrow back, and it goes Bubble Bowl, which is the new other dynasty league. Um, there's DMs, and when you click on the league, voila, there's a chat at the bottom, which is so hard to find on ESPN. I'm just saying, good looks. But ESPN has tried to make it easier too. But I just design the stupid this thing. Whenever you open the ESPN app, and then it does this, and then it goes, wow, I'm like, that's just extra. I think that's just so extra. They don't need that. And they made it green and blue and just something else, man. You can say what you want, man, but I think the sleeper app, I'm not saying it's better, but I think you're hating a little too hard.
The sleeper app made me drop Joe Burrow somehow, and I still don't know how. But do you really think I would drop Joe Burrow? Do you think that's something I would do? Does that seem
Maybe, I
like a
don't know.
realistic No, it
I don't know what kind of league you're in. If you're in a league with 6 people and Joe Burrow's hurt, you could probably pick somebody up.
dude, Joe Burrow, like I'm riding him on IR. If he's injured, I'm keeping him on IR, and he's my boy.
Well,
I don't
but
betray my players like that. I'm not that cutthroat.
so you're not a dynasty league type guy. You wouldn't, because ESPN doesn't have a true dynasty league. You could do
No,
dynasty, but like you don't do dynasty leagues.
no.
You're more of a drafty type guy. You're more of a drafting. Nah, no dynasties for you. Dang.
Amen. I used to do Dynasty, hated it.
Wow. Well, good thing to know because we're going to ask you, myself and Connor, friend of the show, we're going to ask you formally to join the Bubble Bowl Dynasty League version, but because that's kind
I
of what we're
could
transferring to
I
is
could
more of a
maybe be
Dynasty League.
persuaded, but I don't know. I don't know. I
I
don't
mean, you're
know.
already in my other league now because he kind of demolished the draft thing, so he's kind of just doing. We're just doing a Dynasty League now, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
But that's
We're
okay.
we're we're over on time now.
All right, and yeah, I think I gotta go take a number one again. So I'll
Oh
be
boy.
not here for the spiel. So
Okay.
all right.
Thank you guys for joining. It was a fun show. I hope you all enjoyed that. Please let me know what you think down in the comments about anything we talked about today or just anything going on with the NFL in general. Um, we appreciate all of you for stopping by. And if you made it to this point, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. And like I said, around the halfway point of the show, we do have that merch link in the bio. Again, anything you can do to support us, we appreciate so much. So until next time, go do something nice for someone.